Not Waving, but Drowning, by Stevie Smith. The idea of water being used as a symbol for the unknown, the chaotic, the unmanageable depths of life, is as old as the story of Genesis. Chapter 1 verse 2 states, "The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." Whatever those waters were, they're not physical, because the waters of the earth haven't been created yet in Genesis. They're the unimaginable depths, the chaos out of which order is formed. Every culture on earth, almost, has a version of the flood myth, the idea that waters, whether they be symbolic or real, will come again and wreak havoc and destruction on us all. It's as old as Noah's Ark, or the Hindu version of Matsya Avatar of the Vishnu, who warns the first man, Manu, of the impending flood. Not only waters used for symbol of chaos in society, but also for chaos in an individual's life. When Jonah loses his way or fails to follow his calling, he's tossed overboard into the raging sea. Literally and metaphorically, he's thrown from the safety of his lifeboat into the depths of the water. Sound familiar? So when Stevie Smith uses the metaphor of drowning to symbolise someone struggling or out of their depth, she's using an age-old literary symbol that we're all familiar with. The twist in this poem is not the struggle of the drowning man. It's the lack of empathy shown by the bystanders to highlight the superficiality of our relationships. It seems although we have many things in the 21st century, intimate connections and a sense of community are not among them. Let's look at the poem in detail. The first thing to notice is that there are three speakers in the poem. The traditional speaker, I've marked him with a green font because he appears quite neutral. The dead man is in black because he's dead. And the bystanders are in blue because they seem cold, or at least indifferent. Let's take a look at the speaker's opening lines. Nobody heard him, the dead man, but still he lay moaning. Someone has died, but the line is delivered with a matter-of-fact tone. To understand this, contrast it with Wordsworth's speaker in She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways from the same anthology. That speaker laments, but she is in my grave, and oh, the difference to me. That's very different. Smith's speaker seems emotionally disconnected. He's not necessarily focused on the death either. The opening clause, nobody heard him, emphasises the response, or rather lack of response from friends and society. The death comes second in parenthetical commas. The dead man, meaning he's additional information to the sentence. It can be removed. Smith's use of punctuation here highlights how superficial our connection to the dead man is. He can be removed from the sentence. The second line has a degree of ambiguity to it. In terms of tone, the speaker is neutral, reporting the fact. Or is he? But still, he lay moaning. Or is the speaker complaining? But still he lay moaning. Furthermore, moaning is ambiguous. It's most likely utterances of pain from the dead man. But it could be the complaints, the grumbles the dead man made during his life that went unnoticed or unheeded. The ambiguity is cleared up in the next two lines when we hear the dead man explain the circumstances of his death. I was much further out than you thought, and not waving, but drowning. What's interesting here is he frames his death as a tragic accident, a misunderstanding. He assumes the onlookers would have helped had they known he was in trouble. He exculpates them from guilt. It's a very generous explanation from the dead man, given what follows. In the second verse, we hear the voice of the observers. The colloquial expression, poor chap, is superficially friendly, but there's no mention of his name or any personal connection. Similarly, although their understanding of the dead man is inaccurate, he always loved larking, there's no re-evaluation of their ill-formed opinion. Their lack of awareness or empathy is clear, and now he's dead. It states the fact with no pity or sorrow. The reason they haven't re-evaluated their opinion may be found in the next line. It must have been too cold for him, his heart gave way. It frees them of all responsibility for his death. It was the dead man's own fault. The lack of punctuation after him suggests they have quickly decided upon a reason that exculpates them from blame. Obviously, too cold has a symbolic or dual meaning. Too cold in the water is their understanding, but it also refers to how emotionally cold society can be. His heart gave way, suggests not only a heart attack, but more poignantly, that he didn't have the strength or the emotional resilience to continue. Smith's ambiguity captures the experience of many isolated people in our society. The use of irony in the final verse is exquisite. The dead man is still trying to explain, but the bystanders can't or won't listen to him. The repetition of "no, no, no" makes him sound desperate to clarify the situation, but to no avail. The repetition of "too cold, too far out" continues the metaphor of drowning and social isolation. This is a great little poem. The short lines, the simple vocabulary, the rhythm, the assonance create a jaunty feel, much like the man whom we thought was larking. But if we dig beneath the surface of the poem and beneath the man's appearance, what we have is a tale of dark despair. That was Not Waving But Drowning by Stevie Smith, and this is Think Inc. thanking you.